Green Lantern Coaster at Warner Brothers Movie World in Australia currently holds the record for being the third steepest roller coaster on the planet, sending riders down a 120.5-degree drop. That is well beyond vertical and happens to be only 1 degree off from tying it for the record of world's steepest coaster. As of 2024, the world's steepest coaster is TMNT Shellraiser at the Nickelodeon Universe theme park at American Dream in New Jersey. That has a 121.5-degree descent. So they really just barely beat out the record. But when Green Lantern opened, it was the steepest in the world. It's still the steepest in the southern hemisphere. It made its debut in 2011 as one of only 6 S&SL Locos on the planet. It actually features an identical layout to some other rides you guys might be familiar with, including Mumbo Jumbo at Flamingo Land and Steel Hog at Indiana Beach. But there's something about this ride that is different from all of the others, and that is the vehicles. Green Lantern sits riders 4 across instead of the usual 2 across. So whereas the average El Loco has 4 people per vehicle, this has double that, 8. So one aspect that makes this ride different is if you sit on one of those end seats, you're almost positioned like out over the edge of the track, which is something that you're not really used to with this ride model. The other big difference is this ride has lap bars. Now, it's not the only El Loco coaster to feature lap bars. However, if you've experienced a ride like Steel Hog or Mumbo Jumbo, you know that those ride experiences would be a lot better if it didn't have those obnoxious shoulder bars. It like pins you in the seat and is very uncomfortable. If you're not bracing for those turns, it could cause you to get some head banging back and forth. But Green Lantern is very free and open. You feel completely exposed, which makes for some pretty cool sensations when you're going through those inversions. And the last big difference is this ride also has onboard audio, or at least it should. When I rode it, it was not working, but you can see those speakers in the headrests. So when it does work, I'm sure it is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about this layout. As you can probably tell, this thing is extremely compact. That's probably one of the biggest characteristics about this thing. High thrill in a small space. It is also one of the most wacky looking roller coasters out there. Green Lantern is full of some really unconventional moments. This includes outer banks, a dive loop stall, a really quick and snappy inline twist, some really tight hairpin turns. The best way I could describe it is a more extreme Wild Mouse. Those rides are very family friendly with just some really sharp switchbacks and some small drops. So it's like we took that but made it a thrill ride. And I just think it's so funny watching this thing go around. Those vehicles are so small and zippy, and structurally, it's an odd looking ride. It reminds me of a Kinect's like Build It set. Like you just snap the pieces into place and boom, there you have it. What I in particular like about the placement of Green Lantern is it is right on the edge of the parking lot by the main entrance. So as you're walking in, you're looking at that record-breaking drop. And prior to DC Rivals, this was like the front entrance coaster. Now it certainly looks small next to that ride. But this is still a decent sized coaster. It's 108 feet tall. That's only 23 feet shorter than Superman. But because of those hairpin moments, this ride also does not go super fast. We're looking at top speed of 41 miles per hour. I would assume that that speed is reached at the bottom of the first drop, but it's got to only be for a moment because you immediately then rise up into the small whippy turnaround. The pacing of this ride is very odd. You don't keep a consistent speed at all. So what are those specific elements? Well, right out of the station, you're going to turn right and start up your very quick lift hill. It's actually at a pretty steep angle. You drop off and have a 180-degree flat turnaround to the left. There's your drop, a very odd sensation, literally going underneath yourself. It is controlled with the trim, so you don't drop at a speed that would be like uncomfortable for the human body. I think it also makes that drop feel just slightly longer, which is cool. And Green Lantern wastes no time before sending you back up. You level out and take a flat turn into a quick mid-course brake run. You don't really slow down here though, maybe slightly, but not enough to be really noticeable. And then we have this section of ride that is just like way fun, totally wacky. It's an outer bank that immediately sends you into an inner bank, rolling you then over into a dive loop that really kind of starts off as a stall. You just hang upside down there momentarily before diving underneath yourself, rising back up. There's another mid-course brake run. Like the previous one, it doesn't really slow you down there. I think it's mainly to help with capacity. You start banking a little bit to the right and then roll over into this inline twist. And it's an angle that you are also dropping as you're rolling over. It reminds me of the death roll on Iron Gwazi, but this was done like 10 years prior. Which actually would make a lot of sense because both roller coasters were designed by Alan Schilke. So that makes it pretty cool when you think about how Iron Gwazi has this just huge moment that we first saw appear on a much smaller scale. And then you have a bit of a high banking turn that then sends you into the brake run, and that's it. Green Lantern is a really fun experience. It is by far my favorite of like these traditional El Loco coasters. There is a custom one over at Adventure Dome in Las Vegas. That one also has lap bars and is indoors with a very different layout. That one may have the edge, but as far as these like near cloned layouts go, this is easily the most comfortable. And I'm sure it's something that the people in Australia just haven't experienced anywhere else. I don't even know where the next closest one would be, probably over in China. Not really convenient at all. So for Green Lantern's final score, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Absolutely an improvement over S&S's previous El Locos. It's a very wacky, different experience, a very unconventional roller coaster that certainly complements the other rides here on the Gold Coast. If we ever see S&S build more of these type of rides, I hope they're like Green Lantern. I think a lot of parks could benefit from a ride like this. So let me know down in the comments below if you've experienced Green Lantern or an S&S El Loco, what you think of them, and of course stay tuned for more coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you next time.